You may remember our next guest. Well, she's a global star, and we're not saying that to be nice to her. And the lead actor, or the lead character at least, in the US production of The Lion King. Allow me to introduce Gugwana Dlamini. Among her accolades, I can list being an Umoja director, a singer, an actress, and a dancer. She'll be back in the country in a few months to work on reviving Umoja. And she's joining me now from New York to talk about her career. She managed to stay up as it is 1 o'clock in the morning out in New York. Gugwana, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, you've been doing amazing things with The Lion King for the last decade and a half. Yes, 15 years is what you've been doing this on. But then there's something else coming up for you. That is, you're going to be jumping onto Generations, of course, one of the most watched TV shows in this country. I mean, before we get to the Generations, talk to me about The Lion King. You're still, of course, on stage doing that. You are Rafiki. How's that been going?
Well, I want to say good morning to the whole of South Africa. I've been doing The Lion King really more than 15 years. It's basically 21 years, like not 22 years, I think. I started Lion King from actually the soundtrack, the original soundtrack of The Lion King with Lebo M and Hans Zimmer coming down to South Africa. So it's been really great journey for me. Oh, wow. It's been definitely a great journey for me because the character I'm playing Rafiki, which is more like a storyteller, which is more like a Sangoma, a Rafiki, which is also, I'm a Sangoma myself. But it's definitely a great show I've been basically blessed to be in this part of production for all these years. And basically with the Generations, I started doing Generations when they started the legacy of Generations. And that's when I came in as Mazvi's mom for a few months, but then I had to go back again on the road to do the show. And then I was in South Africa right now. I just basically started appearing actually just 2 days ago on Friday. I was shooting from February, March up until mid-April. That's when I came back to do the tour. So yeah, it's been a great journey for me.
How do you manage, Gugwana, to balance everything? Because The Lion King, I would imagine, as you're saying, it's been 2 decades now, just over 2 decades. It's demanding, you know, and you're always on tour. If you're not in London, you're in New York. If you're not in New York, you're in a different country somewhere in Europe. You are always moving and you're always on stage, and it's a demanding production. I need not even, say it to our viewers how demanding it must be. How do you then find that space to jump onto another demanding role, which is TV, and Generations, which again, I must say, is one of the most watched shows. So that one requires you to always be on your game.
Yeah, well, I took a break. When we're doing the UK tour, and I was like, can I just take a break and go home? Because at the time I was opening a business as well. So, but while I was home, my agent called me and said, hey, there are auditions for Generations, The Legacy. Would you want to do that? I was like, I've never done TV before, but acting is all about telling the story. You can tell the story on, while you're on stage. You can tell the story at the same time while you're on television. So I was like, yeah, let me just go for it. And the funny thing is that when I was going for that audition, I remember I was about 44, 45 years old at the time. And my agent was like, oh, yeah, they've changed. They said they're looking for people for more than 50 years. And I'm like, I'm still going. I'm going there regardless. And when I arrived at the audition room at the SABC, I was like, yeah, I can see all the 50s and the 60s women. I was like, you know what, I'm walking out of here. As I stood up, as I was walking out, the director just opened the door. Okay, you next, come in. I was like, oh, okay, let me just go. And I did make time because I was home for 6 months. For that 6 months, that was the chance for me to do Generation The Legacy. And then when I went back on the road again, because right now, actually, I'm on tour. I'm not even in New York. I'm on tour. I'm touring 3 weeks here, 4 weeks there, different states in the whole of America. So that kind of gave me a chance to do TV at home and get that experience with the television at home, and then coming back and do the tour. It's very demanding, very tiring to tour and all that. But, when you're dedicated and you love what you're doing, you love the passion, you love telling the story, there's nothing can stop you to be wherever you want to do and do whatever you want to do at the same time.
You're coming back in September. You're coming back home in September, I believe. That's what's going to be happening. And you're coming back to revive Umoja. Why?
Well, I was approached by Sis Todd, and she was saying, look, how about we just come back and open Umoja again and see what we can do, even though I've never been a part of Umoja. But when the opportunity came for me, I was because I want to give out to the community. I want to give out to the other talented actors and singers that we have in South Africa. And I've learned a lot being overseas. So I want to bring all that up again and bring something different and something new, even though the story will still be the same. So I just said to myself, you know what? Yes, I'm opening up the opportunity because there's a lot of talent we have. And all those kids, they still want to go to big stages, like I've been to big stages myself. So that is what I've loved to do.
One of the most difficult things I think South African talent have come to experience is really stamping their authority on an international stage. We talk about very few people who have managed to do that. One of them that springs quickly to mind is Dr. John Kani. He is a man that the world knows him. You know, he is King T'Chaka,
Yes.
of course, of the Black
Yeah.
Panther. But then there is also Gugwana Dlamini that I think South Africans don't speak a lot about. And maybe it's because you've not appeared a lot on our TV screens and you only have, started doing it with Generations and Legacy. But the global stages know you because you are Rafiki on the most famous production that is The Lion King. Talk to us about the struggles of a South African artist on an international stage.
It's not very easy to be where I am, but I think it's all about getting the good connections first and foremost. And anything that you want to do, I always believe that no matter where you are, and besides, we are very unique. We have a unique talent. And as long and you keep up into your roots and sticking to it, when you come to stages like this, here in America, Europe, or wherever, you bring all that culture in you. You bring all that, the talent that is unique. You're very accepted because you bring something they don't have. For us as South Africans, being here, doing the show here in America, I mean, I'm not the only ones in the Lion King. There's like 8 of us. We're bringing something different that they don't have. One is the language, in the culture that we have. We're bringing it along as well here, in these stages like this. So if you bring something that they don't have, you have a chance of making it. But if you bring something they have, it's not going to be easy to make it inside big stages like this one.
Umama was in Richmond, KwaZulu, and you were recently approached by the chief in the area. Land was offered to you. They had also requested, because of your global, positioning, that if you could start an academy, cook us up another Gugwana Dlamini if you can. I mean, just talk to us about that. The offering of the land. I mean, offering of land is not it's not something to be taken lightly. That is a big. We are proud of you kind of gesture. But then also for them to request that you try and help and create and nurture more talent in the area. Just how that makes you feel, and just talk to us about that.
Well, I was really very honored to be given the land there in Richmond by Inkosi Gugwana Dlamini, and they approached me and said to me, look, we know that you are international actor, singer. We have so much talent here that we have here in Richmond. We'll be very, very grateful if you can help our youth here. Because there are some of them, they have to go to Pietermaritzburg, and some of the parents, they cannot afford to pay for those children to go and do any kind of training. So they're like, please teach us and help us to teach all those children here. So that is what definitely we are working on with Sis Todd, which is also beautiful because she's going to be part of all that. We are hoping to have some kind of academy that will be definitely teaching youngsters, because who are also dreaming of going to big stages internationally, who love to be on television right in the rural area. So I was like, it's an honor for me to be approached by the actual Inkosi himself to say, help us. So it's sort of definitely what we want to do, because these kids, we're going to groom them, and it's going to keep them busy as well, programs after school to learn more about the culture, so that we just take back what basically, we've learned as well as we come along, as we are growing up.
Sis Gugwana, before I let you go, we have a new Minister of Arts and Culture, Uzisi Godwa. You have a global footprint. You are somebody that he can listen to because you've been doing this for a very long time. He's got a lot of work to do to ensure that your industry in this country specifically is looked after and is prospering. What do you want to say to him?
Well, I'll be so happy if he can support us in every way that way. If any door that we are knocking, just to say, hey, help us, Minister, because we have so much talent, especially in the rural areas. You know, with so much talent, people who can sing and dance and all that. If he can listen to us, not only just, you know, people in all the artists that we have in South Africa, every door that is being basically is open for us will be very, very grateful. So he's got a lot of work to do in the country, definitely at this present moment, because there's so much talent and that we love to take outside of South Africa.
Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. I know I would think you're probably going to go back and take a nap because it is now what, 20 to 2 in the morning in New York. But thank you so much for joining us, making time for us, and all the best with you know, the rest of the tour. All the best with what's going to happen on Generations a little later on this year, and as well as Umoja. So we'll definitely be keeping tabs on what it is you are doing. Of course, that is singer, actress, and dancer, and just all-round entertainer, Gugwana Dlamini, coming to us, of course, from New York. She's still touring with The Lion King.